Good morning, guys. I hope you're having a rad week because it's time for stage 2 for the crypto bull run and also the next stage for AI. And let me tell you why. So, first of all, what triggered some of this is the news from the president. Now, again, I told you in the previous video that he was going to cause a lot of fear with tariffs yet again. He's using that as playing his poker cards. He has to create tension so that he can give small concessions along the way. A lot of people say that the president is flip-flopping on tariffs and things, and it's true. But he's doing that to leverage psychology. And a lot of you guys, don't understand that, but I want to clarify at least my perspective on how that's going to make crypto skyrocket. This morning, Ethereum is up over 7% and Bitcoin's up a little bit, but you're going to see a massive rise, I believe, in Ethereum inflows. Now, remember the 4 stages of crypto. This is really important. During the bull run, Bitcoin rises first, then you'll have Ethereum rise, then you'll have other alts and mid caps rise, and then small and ultra micro caps rise. And on a 1 to 4 scale, we're about 1.4 now. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say that you would see Ethereum in the next little bit breach all-time highs. And the reason for this is you saw, as I posted earlier this week, outflows out of Bitcoin ETFs into Ethereum. Okay. Now, Ethereum is just software, like I've always talked about. And then there are other projects that are built on Ethereum, which are great software too. They're called L2s instead of Ethereum being an L1. And then those tokens rise. And then sub-projects from those that support through that can rise as well. And then other small variants. Now, I'm going to teach you something, but I'm going to give you a tool. You want to go to CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and download those onto your phone. You also want to go to TradingView. Now, what you can do on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap is you can actually look up very broad information on what crypto is going up at any time. You can even build a simulated free portfolio. So even if you haven't bought any crypto, you can see where each token's going, and you can graphic back way back in time, or as short as what's happening by the hour. Same thing with TradingView. If you want to get really deep and look at the charts and different things like that, market cap. There's another thing called DEX Tools and DEX Screener. DEX Tools and DEX Screener. They're great for analyzing microcaps. I had one of you followers message me about some particular token that's super small. And I looked it up, actually, what's crazy, on DEX Screener and DEX Tools. And it looked like the liquidity, meaning the amount that could be bought and sold of this token, was so small. It's like 100 grand. But the token size was actually getting pretty large, which means that there's a high likelihood that it could be a scam token. This may mean that the founders have a huge amount of it set aside for themselves in the code of that token. So be very aware of weird projects that people send you that aren't really experienced and haven't done the diligence on that token, because these can rug overnight. We've seen it hundreds of thousands of times. And you've seen these tokens skyrocket. There's all this marketing behind it and then suddenly just crash. So again, for you beginners, I would really focus primarily on larger cap tokens and projects that actually have real world utility, or there's a lot of development underneath it, or a huge amount of demand. And a lot of people say, does Bitcoin have real world utility? Primarily as a storage of agreed wealth. That's what it is, like the US dollar, right? Except there's only 21 million Bitcoin, over 19 million have been mined right now, and about 6 million plus they estimate have been lost because people lost their seed key or lost their password to whatever it is to be able to access that. So it's pretty interesting where things go. Now, as I said in my video during the weekend, you're going to see probably a little bit of chop in the beginning of this week, which you did see. A little bit of rise, a little dip, a little rise, a little dip, right? But the catalyst here is where everything kind of reaches a certain support level. You're going to see a very awesome upward trend, I believe. I think the next few months are going to be pretty darn interesting. And as I posted in the video on the weekend, when things were a little bit dipped down when I made the video, I deployed, and Bridger and I deployed for the Ugly Unicorn Crypto Hedge Fund almost $2 million extra in just a couple days into the markets. And now we're feeling that upside today, so we're all super happy about that. Now, it's very important, as I've always told you guys, to take profits. I played some option calls yesterday on some interesting companies. I had one position make over 110% return in one day. So it was cool. And I just simply, this position, I felt like it was a little bit peaked out. So I simply just closed that position out, took profits. Awesome day, right? Don't get greedy, man, because remember, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, right? Don't get slaughtered. Make sure to take your profits, okay, guys? Very, very important to do that. So this week, going to be a phenomenal week. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about AI. So what the president did is he said 100% tariff on chips and things, and everyone was freaking out. Then you saw earnings on AMD. They missed it they didn't even miss it. I think they met expectations or something like that. And so they dropped 6%, and I'm great. I'm like, this is great. I'll just load up on maybe some more. And awesome. Not telling you to buy AMD, but I've talked about them being a great competitor to NVIDIA for AI. And NVIDIA, of course, I've talked about since for forever. You go back to 2018, you're watching me rant and rave about how NVIDIA is really awesome. But did you know that 10 grand invested in NVIDIA in like 2018-19 era, if you got in there, you'd have over $500,000? $500,000. Now, the beautiful thing, though, is what the president said is chips that are going to be made primarily in the U.S., or they're planning and committed to make them in the U.S., could be 100% exempt. And this is why you're seeing deployments from Apple Computer. That's even going to help Utah, by the way. But you're seeing from Apple Computer, you're going to see NVIDIA, you're going to see AMD, probably today, go up significantly. And with all that financial support, that's huge, because AI, blockchain, it's the future, and you have those two technologies happening at once. And did you know adoption of those technologies right now is faster than the internet or mobile phones in its early days? So guys, we're sitting in a time machine. Imagine you had gone back into the 90s and bought internet infrastructure. I mean, huge. That's how the billionaires of today were built, because a lot of them invested into the infrastructure. Look at Steve Ballmer, one of the richest guys in the world, and he was just Bill Gates' buddy at Microsoft, his partner, and did really well. Took some of the profits, bought some sports teams, bought a ton of real estate. Dude's just sitting pretty today. I think that could be you. This is why I give you this information. I've been preaching about this for so long. And I tell you, what really built a lot of my wealth was investing in internet infrastructure in the 90s. I wish I had more money to invest back then. I was much younger, and I wish I was much bolder. But for the small amount of money that I invested, I've had small deployments of $10,000 turn into over $500,000 like the NVIDIA play a few different times. And, you know, nowadays that I'm older and I do have a little bit more money and I have companies that are running good, I can deploy more. And I think my kids and my grandkids will appreciate that. Do you want your kids and grandkids to appreciate that grandma or grandpa invested wisely in the beginning of AI and blockchain before it became an intergalactic thing? All right, guys, I'll keep making videos for you. I got to go actually right now because the market just opened, 7:32 a.m. here. So I got to do some stock plays as well. And I'm probably going to analyze our crypto a little bit, maybe DCA a little bit. We're going to look at the charts, but I'll keep you updated. All right, now, a couple things. Ugly Unicorn Crypto Hedge Fund, open to accredited investors. Myself and my partner, Bridger Pennington, manage that fund. Open to accredited investors or higher, 100 grand entry or higher if you're interested in that. If you're a home gamer, don't stress out. I make these videos for guess how much? Not $10,000 a month subscription. Zero, free. I have one ask. Like, comment, share, save. Like, comment, share, save, so we can help your friends and family and educate them on what is happening around them, good and bad. All right? And I think you're going to see more good here in the next couple months. All right, guys, I love you. Rock and roll.